Today we're going to be reflecting points across lines in the coordinate plane. We're going to start by reflecting points across the x-axis. So this horizontal axis, this is our x-axis. So I'm going to start by plotting point A, which we're going to say is at 4, 3. Here's point A, it's at 4, 3. I am going to reflect it across the x-axis. So right now it's above the x-axis. After I reflect it across, it will be below the x-axis. So my point is going to stay the same number of units below the x-axis as it was above the x-axis. So right now point A is 3 units above the x-axis. It's going to be 3 units below the x-axis. So since I've moved point A, I've performed a transformation to it. I'm going to put a little tick mark to indicate this is my new point A. And I didn't move it to the left or to the right at all. So my x-coordinate is still 4. My y-coordinate is now -3. I moved it 3 units below the x-axis. So the rule is we are going to take our point x, y, and we're going to change the sign of the y-coordinate. So if you notice, my x-coordinate stayed the same. My y-coordinate went from positive to negative. So I'm going to multiply my y-coordinate by -1. I'm going to multiply the y-coordinate by -1. So if it's positive, it becomes negative. Negative, it becomes positive. I want you to try this one on your own. Let's put point B at -5, -2. -5, -2. I want you to move this point across the x-axis. It's 2 below, and so you should put B prime at -5, +2. Let's try another one. What if I had the point 1, 0, and I wanted you to reflect this point across the x-axis? So I'm going to multiply my y-coordinate by -1. What's 0 times -1? It's still 0. So if you're reflecting a point that is on the x-axis across the x-axis, it's not going to go anywhere, so it stays the same. Okay, so the big idea, if you're reflecting a point across the x-axis, you're going to multiply its y-coordinate by -1. You're going to change it from positive to negative or negative to positive. Next thing we're going to do is reflect across the y-axis. So our y-axis is this vertical axis. Let's say I have the point 6, 5. So here's point A. 6, 5. We're going to reflect it across the y-axis. So right now it's on the right side of the y-axis. It's going to jump over and be on the left side of the y-axis. So since point A is 6 units to the right of the y-axis, it's going to be 6 units to the left of the y-axis after I reflect it over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So A prime is at -6, 5. So notice I didn't move my point up or down at all. I just changed my x-coordinate from being +6 to -6. So the rule for reflecting across the y-axis, xy is going to become -xy. You're going to multiply the x-coordinate by -1. So whatever is positive becomes negative, whatever is negative becomes positive. Your y coordinate doesn't move. I want you to try this one on your own. Let's do -3, -3. Here's B. -3, -3. And I want you to reflect this point across the y-axis. Pause your video and find B prime. Okay, so B is 3 units to the left of the y-axis, so B prime is going to be 3 units to the right of the y-axis. 3, -3. Okay, and our last rule that we're going to learn is reflecting across the line y equals x. So if you think about y equals mx plus b, m is my slope, b is my y-intercept. Technically, there's a 1 right there, so my slope is 1. And I don't have anything. This is just plus 0, so my y-intercept is 0. So this line's starting at the origin and has a slope of 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So this is the line y equals x. You can draw the line, you can draw like a dotted line, just to help you visualize what's going on. Okay, let's say I had the point -3, 2. Here's point A at -3, 2. So I'm going to reflect this point across that line. So it's going to end up somewhere over here. The rule for reflecting across the line y equals x, you're going to take your point and you're going to interchange the x and the y coordinates. They're just going to switch places. So xy is going to become yx. So A, which is at -3, 2, is going to become 2, -3. Here is A prime. A prime is going to switch to 2, -3. I'm not changing any of the signs. I'm not changing from positive to negative or anything like that. They're literally just switching places. They're just going to swap. They're just going to swap. The x becomes the y becomes the x. So try reflecting B. B is at 4, -1. Reflect B across the line, y equals x, positive 0, find B prime. Okay, so B prime would become -1, 4. Prime is at -1, 4. Notice it looks like that point is up across that line. So if you're reflecting across the line y equals x, you are literally switching x and y. They just change places. Your y becomes your x becomes your y. Switch places.